Hey YouTube, Prepper John here, coming at you with another video. As many of you know that follow my channel, I make knives. It's my hobby. I love doing it. It's a lot of fun getting out on a forge, shaping hot metal, or even doing stock removal, which is where you buy like a bar of steel and cut out a knife. I do both methods, and for my handles, since I put so much time, labor, love, sweat, and blood into these knives, I like doing special things with my handles. Scales, they're called. I do some wood. I've got some old growth walnut from West Virginia that while I was living there I found in a shed out in the woods that the wood had been cut and boarded around 1940, and it had sat there since then. So I've got some really nice walnut. Otherwise, you know, a lot of custom knives come with Mycarta or G10 scales on them. You can buy it. There's multiple places out there on the internet to buy it. Knife Kits, Knife Maker USA, Jant Supply. They all sell very, very good product, but me being me, I wanted to do it myself. It's just how I'm wired. I like doing that. So I started playing around with making Mycarta. Here's some of my work. This is my marpat, that I call it, and you can see I've got it the scale textured there. This, for those of you that have seen my channel before, this is Turbine Shitter 1, going out to a good friend of mine, Chris Cole. Just molded up the sheath for it and getting ready to finish this off and get it sent to him. But getting this look is difficult. Like I said, you can buy it and you can get some colors, but I prefer to experiment myself, and I'm going to talk about how I do it today. So if you're interested, stick around and we'll be right back. Alright, Mycarta. Here's one that I made a couple days ago. I make paper Mycarta. I've done some linen, but I'm not a huge fan of how it turns out and how it feels in your hand. I prefer the paper. So I go to the craft store, order online, Walmart, and buy packs of paper that is used for scrapbooking. They have multiple colors, and you can put stuff together. This here is black and gray with a black liner. So when it's on the knife, there'll be a nice thick black layer against the blade, and then it will stack up black and two different shades of gray are pressed in this piece. You can see it's a just shy of 3/8 of an inch thick. Solid. It's 4.5 inches wide and 11.5 inches long, or 4.25 wide, 11.5 long. What I do is I buy paper, lay it down, take a straight edge and a razor knife, and I cut the sheets in half, and then I make my stacks and go to press it out. What we're going to be doing today is my marpat design with the black liner. You can see here's the stack of the paper. It's a bunch of different colors, browns, greens, black, all mixed in there. So when it gets ground down, it gives it a look of marpat, which everyone should know what that is. It's the Marines digital camouflage. So it kind of looks like that, even though I don't do little tiny squares to make it digital. It is the same coloration that has. So we're going to do that. So to make Mycarta, you need your paper, and it's close to 3/8 of an inch thick. I think it's around 60 sheets of paper in here, 50 to 60 sheets of paper. Next thing you need is your resin, and I use Bondo fiberglass resin. Picked this up at Walmart. It's around $40 a gallon, and I use 8 ounces per sheet of Mycarta, so I get quite a few sheets out of this. And when you're talking a piece of micarta that's 4 inches by 12 inches, costing anywhere from $28 to $40, this definitely saves you. Gloves, of course, protect your hands. You need to do this in a well ventilated area because this resin does smell pretty bad. I'm set up, I'm in my little man cave knife finishing room right now, and I've got a fan in the window blowing out, and I do everything right next to the window so that all the fumes get blown outside. Parchment paper, super important. Just regular old parchment paper. The resin does not stick to this. My first attempts, I used saran wrap because I thought it's not going to stick. Well, the resin heats as it cures and it melts the saran wrap. And my first jig, my press that I used, I had to tear apart to get my micarta out because the saran wrap melted and the resin got everywhere. Now for a jig, I just had some wood laying around outside. As y'all know, I live on a farm out here in Kentucky. And since my paper is 4 1/4 inches wide, I cut this 4 3/16 wide. This is my press board, and then I've got a little U channel here. I line this with parchment paper, stack the paper up, wrap this, clamp it down, and squeeze it, and then let it sit. So it's as you can tell, it's not an elaborate process. It's just a little time consuming, and you've got to work relatively quickly because the resin has around a 10 to 12 minute work time, so you've got to get all your paper saturated and stacked up in that time frame, and so far I haven't run into any issues with getting my paper done. Of course, I'm videoing this today, so this is when I'll run into an issue, I'm sure, but otherwise it's gone pretty smoothly so far. Need a mixing vessel for your work. I measure in these little cups. I do 8 ounces of resin, and then it's 10 drops of hardener per ounce of resin, so then 80 drops go in here. Mix it up real good, and then I use one of these big tongue depressors to stir it, and then I use that as my squeegee on my paper, which you'll see the process here once I get it done. So I'm going to go ahead and rearrange the camera a little bit, and then we'll get started making some micarta. Alright, we're ready to get started now. Got my gloves on. I'm going to go ahead and get my resin mixed up, and then this will be my working area. I'm going to try and stay off to the side as much as possible so you can see the process. I use like a turkey aluminum roasting pan. I found these, I think I got them at Walmart. I got a stack of like 30 of them, and you know, use these down in the kitchen, and they make great pans for doing this. They were super cheap, so keeps that cost down. I'm going to go ahead and mix up 8 ounces of resin. I do that on the floor over parchment paper so I don't get stuff all over my little man cave here, which is my knife finishing and kydexing area. Go ahead and start pouring my resin out. It's kind of thick and gloopy stuff. About 2 ounces in the cup. Pour it in a bigger cup. That's 4. 6 ounces. Yeah, when you're doing this, you definitely want to wear some clothes that you don't mind if you get some resin on it, because this stuff, you will get a little bit messy doing this. It's not the cleanest process in the world. Okay, and that's 8 ounces. Pour that in my cup. Then you add your hardener. It comes in a little tube, and let's do 80 drops. Okay, that's 80 drops. There's 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. It's okay to go over a little bit. I wasn't precise on measuring that resin, so I added a little bit more hardener, which is okay to do. Get everything capped up. And then once you mix it, that's when the timer starts. And like I said, you've got about 10 minutes of working time. So after that, you've got to kind of go pretty quick. You want to mix it up really good. Now this paper absorbs this stuff pretty well. I'm sure canvas would do better. I've done some colors, or I've bought some fabric and cut it up and done this, and that soaks it up a lot more than the paper does. And I found that for my stuff that's about 3/8 of an inch thick, 8 ounces of resin is just about perfect. I have very, very little left over, and you know, the only waste is what you squeeze out in the press when you press the paper together. So you want to get a good coating on each sheet. What I usually do is squeegee it with my little tongue depressor here, and then as I get going, I use my hands because they're coated with resin, and wipe it on the top of the paper, lay another sheet, wipe it, sheet, wipe it, sheet. So you'll see when I start doing it here, I'll try and keep out of the camera's way as much as I possibly can while I'm doing this. Get her going. And once it's secured, like I said, you got the 10 to 12 minute working time, and then you know, that's when it gels and gets too thick to be able to work with. And then it takes about 24 hours to fully cure. So I always start, I flip my stack over so I've got my black on the bottom, that's my liner, and then start with my colors. So here we go. Kind of soak it in. You can see it picks up a lot of resin. That's why I use that as my little squeegee. And the first sheet is in. And the second sheet down. I'll kind of get some resin on it, smear it around a little bit. I guess a little paintbrush would work doing this as well. You just want to get a nice little coat on it. Doesn't have to be like super duper thick. So it will soak into the paper. Just kind of keep stacking. I'm a little sore and slow today. Had a range day yesterday. Even though it's February, it's pretty much springtime here in Bourbon Country, Kentucky. And a good friend of mine came out yesterday and broke out the guns. Did a bunch of shooting for the first time in 2017, which was nice. Talked a little bit about some changes going to make to the range. And once I get my range set up, I'll be doing some videos down there, some shooting and my range area. You know, I've got about 14 acres here. About 4 of it or so I keep mowed, and about 10 acres of woods. And it is a little bit hilly. It's not not bad, but where I've got my range set up, I've got a nice berm hill that the rounds go into, and it's actually a very nice little area. It's by my fire pit. And I'm going to set up a competition pistol 3-gun course down there this summer to practice for IDPA 3-gun and USPSA shooting. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'll get some videos done of that. This, you just spread the glue or the resin all over the paper, and once you squeeze this together, if you miss some areas or something, it's okay. Once you start squeezing it together, the resin permeates the paper and kind of spreads itself out and gives you a nice good coating. And when I get my paper, I try and do a whole bunch at a time. Like right now I've got 22 Mycarta stacks set up in the colors of how I'm going to make them, and then I usually just do one a day, let it cure, then the next day do another one if I have the time. If I'm not working, I work kind of a crazy schedule. Nights, days, I rotate between, so when I work night shift, I usually pretty much just work and sleep, so I don't get too much done on night shift days. See, this is relatively simple. It's just stacking paper and spreading glue. Pretty easy stuff. And there's a lot of other uses you could use this for besides making knife scales. If you wanted some sheet of a hard resinous type plastic, make any type of little gadgets you're working on or whatnot, you could definitely use this for that. I'd say if you use canvas or fabric, it does give it a lot different texture when you're done. I kind of like the paper because it soaks in the boiled linseed oil that I use for my finish to give it a nice sheen, and it just works well for me. Plus there's so many colors of paper available, you can get kind of crazy. The one I showed at the beginning of the video, my black and gray, that is actually for a special project knife that I'm doing that will be part of a big giveaway, not on my YouTube channel, but any of you that are familiar with BattleBox, I'm going to be making a knife for a giveaway for them. It is an Urban Fighter. It's a nice big crazy blade. It's called the Gray Man Bloodletter. Yes, I name all my knives when I make them. I have specific designations for each one, as everybody does. This one is the Gray Man Bloodletter. Everyone knows what a gray man is. During a Teotwaki event, the gray man stay in the shadows. This one's designed if you have to fight your way out of dodge, you've got the tool to do it. It's not an EDC blade. It's definitely something that would be on a pack and used when you need to get out of dodge. Be a nice knife once you're going. It definitely has its advantages other than just fighting. You'd be able to use it as a regular knife, but like I say, it's not an everyday carry blade. But it will be a black and gray Mycarta scales and a black and gray Kydex sheath with MOLLE attachments, so it'll attach to a pack or they can be switched out and put onto a belt if that's how you wanted to carry it. I'll be going out to the forge after I get this done and get that done, plus a couple other knives. Recently started a Facebook page called BBB Customs, Beer, Bourbon, and Bushcraft Customs. That I have I'll be displaying all my knife works. I've got a shop on there. My wife makes jewelry out of bullet casings, which is really, really cool. I'll be selling those on there as well. I'll put a link in the description box down below, and appreciate it if you all go and give me a like and check out my wares, and send me a PM if you're looking for a custom one-off blade. I can definitely help you out there and do something special. I've got a couple special blades in the works that I'll be forging today, as well as the Gray Man Bloodletter. Got 4 knives that I'll be pounding out today, getting them ready for their initial grind, which I'll do a little out in the shop. I've got a 2x72 grinder out by my forge. I've got a small 1x30 sander that I keep in here for doing my finish work and doing my final edge grinds on the blade. I've got a Ken Onion Edition work sharp that I use. This is starting to set up. Gotta move quickly. Talking too much. Starting to gel up a little bit. A little too much hardener. Probably shouldn't have done those extra drops. Get to the next black layer, and I'm gonna call it quits so I can get this clamped before this resin totally sets up. This piece is going to be a little bit thinner than I would like. A touch. But you got to do what the glue will allow. Okay, now the last piece, this top piece that I'm putting on here, I'm going to end up with a little over a 1/4 inch, which will be fine for some of the thinner blades I do. You just put your parchment paper down, smooth it out, fold this one over, get it smooth. Set your flatten down on it. And then change gloves really quick here. Those were getting extremely sticky. That resin's starting to gel. Makes it difficult to work the clamps. And then I just used 4 C clamps on here. I just get them snugged, and then once they're all on, then I'll do a crisscross to tighten them, like you do your lug nuts when you're changing a tire. Make sure everything stays nice and even on here. that's a little warmer today than it was the last time I made this. That definitely affects your resin cure time. Okay, now it's clamped. Just go around and tighten each one, and it'll start, the resin will start oozing out the ends. So this should end up around 5/16 of an inch thick. Okay, and now it just sits. And you wait for it to cure all the way. Goes up there. Yeah, not too bad. I got about 50 pieces of paper on there. It should be, it'll definitely work for it. I'm just missing one layer of the camouflage there, so, but not too bad. Maybe 1/8 of an inch on thickness, so it should be just over 1/4 of an inch thick when she's finished. That resin's already hardening. Turning, you can see it gets, it's like warm. It's really hot and kind of like a thick gelatin, and then it'll turn brittle hard as it cures. Definitely warm. In about 10 hours or so, I'll pull the clamps off of it and see how it came out. Now, every once in a while, you'll have a batch that doesn't work right. The resin gels too fast, or you get voids in it, and that happens. But each piece with the resin you're looking, and the paper, at about $3 or $4 maybe in materials, versus $25 to $40 to have someone make it for you. So, I mean, if I do 10 and I lose one, I'm still way ahead, and I've got custom knife scales in the colors that I want that are going to match my blade design. So, turn the camera around here a little bit. So that's making Mycarta. Not too bad, a pretty easy process. You do have to move quick. Once you commit to doing it, you've got to do it. Otherwise, you're going to lose your resin. It's going to harden. You're going to end up with scrap, which is disheartening. But when you get started, keep trying it. Maybe start with a small piece to get your system down. 8 or 10 sheets of paper, a small amount of resin, maybe 2 ounces. Get it, make a small piece. See how it works, see how your process goes, how you get your resin spread out, how you lay your paper out and everything. Make sure your clamp works well, and test it, and then move up to thicker and thicker, and then you can get more elaborate. I go to the scrapbooking section and I buy tons of colored papers, and I mix and match myself to get the colors. I've got like desert look, coyote colors, tans, and it's going to be a coyote scale that'll go with like a coyote brown kydex sheath or a coyote brown leather sheath to match it. And once I do the texturing on the handle, it really pops those colors out, like you can see on this one here. There's multiple layers of colors in there. This is a regular camouflage, the Mycarta. It doesn't have the bright greens in it like the one I just made. This is more of a coyote color, so it'll fit on an IBV for my friend Chris when he goes to deploy. So he'll be able to wear that with his uniform. But if you have any questions, suggestions, anything, drop down, leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this. I appreciate all my subscribers, and stay tuned. Not only will I be giving information about the Gray Man Blood Letter competition or giveaway that's going to be going on, but I'm also going to shoot a video and have a giveaway on my channel here really soon. I'm approaching 250 subscribers, and what I'm going to do is once I hit 250, the giveaway is going to take place, and all of my subscribers will be entered, and I'm going to have some extra ways to earn extra entries for a really cool giveaway gift that's not your typical prepper or survivalist gear. It's something we're going to talk about in a video here in the next day or two. Something that's very, very important that a lot of people overlook, and I'm going to give you a way to change that with the giveaway. So stay tuned. So until next time, I appreciate all my subscribers, and keep watching my videos, and I'll keep bringing you content as best I can. So until next time, it's Prepper John. See ya.